I love reading, man. I grew up reading. I read books when I was a kid in the library. I was always at the library. I'd read books on Roger Staubach, who was a quarterback from Navy, who ended up becoming a quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys, coached by Tom Landry at the time. That was my favorite team. Read books on Dr. J, read all kinds of books. And then when I got to high school, I started reading novels. When I got out of high school, I was still reading a few books. But when I got to college, I didn't really like the textbooks. The textbooks weren't doing it for me. So when I left college and I ended up pursuing my own kind of career path through some serendipitous God-led situations, I ended up reading books like Think and Grow Rich, one of my favorite books. Another book, The Power of Positive Thinking, another great book. The Richest Man in Babylon, another great book. Tough Times Never Last, but Tough People Do, by the great Reverend Dr. Robert Schuller. But one of the books that I want to talk about actually gave me one really great insight. But I want to tell you about a book that I'm reading right now, and I can't wait to take it on the road with me. It's called Endurance, the incredible story of Shackleton, who discovered Antarctica or rediscovered Antarctica, and how they survived and the leadership skills that went there. So when people talk about little things leading to bigger things, I'm telling you right now, they do. If you're faithful in the little, according to the parable of the talents in Matthew chapter 25, God will put you in charge of many things. If you're faithful in the little things, God will put you in charge of many things. So don't look down on the little things or the small days or the grind in the early days, because you have to hustle and you have to outwork your previous self in moderation to make sure that you don't drop dead or die or lose your family or lose your health or whatever it is. But I want to tell you something else. Not only is it okay to start small, because most people do, not only is it incredibly okay to only have one talent or two talents and work your way up from there, but I also want you to know that little things lead to bigger things, or you just make it big. Let me give you an example. When we started our church, we started off with 80 people, and now we are where we are today, 23 years later, because we've been faithful in the little, and God has put us in charge of many. But then at the same time, to whom much is given, even more will be demanded. So a lot more is demanded out of you when you get bigger. Your time, that's demanded from you. Your mental space, that's demanded from you. A lot of things will be demanded from you because you've been faithful in the little. But little things often will lead to bigger things, or you just make it bigger. One of my heroes growing up in the church when I started were not necessarily only pastors. They were football coaches. Back in the day when the University of Hawaii had an incredible football team, and they will in the future, but when they did, we were running the table against every team that came to Hawaii. As a matter of fact, teams didn't even want to come here. They were afraid. So they put an exemption, a travel exemption. University of Hawaii had to pay that, to subsidize travel for these teams that would come to Hawaii and get beat. I'm talking about Purdue. I'm talking about Michigan State. I'm talking about BYU. And all of these guys would cry, but there was this one team that was really good, and they were our rival. They were the Fresno State Bulldogs. They came out of the Valley, right there in California. And their motto was anybody, anytime, any place. Anybody, anytime, any place. So they were the arch rival to the University of Hawaii. Our coach, June Jones, famous coach, developed the run and shoot with a guy named Mouse Davis. And now every team's running the run and shoot, some form of it. But back then, we were rivals. The University of Hawaii against Fresno State. And Fresno State started winning. Their motto, anytime, anybody, any place, really actually happened. They went to the SEC. They beat a couple of teams. They come back home to Fresno to play in the WAC. We don't have that conference anymore, but the Western Athletic Conference. And then they go down and drive on their bus and get down to USC and go to the LA Coliseum, beautiful Trojan LA Coliseum, and beat USC. And they'd go back to Fresno. And then when they came to Hawaii, a reporter asked him a question and said, Coach Hill, you ever thought about going from a mid-major program and moving up to a big program like the Pac-10, like the SEC, like the Big Ten, all of those conferences of the past? And this is what he said. He said, you know what? Everybody says that the grass is greener on the other side. He said, I just figure I'll make my own grass green. Ain't that the truth? You can make your own grass green in your marriage. Stop comparing, looking over the fence at somebody else's marriage or what somebody else is doing and how big they're doing it and whatever they're driving. We don't even know if they paid cash or if they got it's a lease. I don't know. But stop worrying about what other people do, because little things will eventually lead to bigger things. And like Coach Pat Hill, it led to a big thing. Fresno State was a top 25 team in the country, ranked top 25, and UH probably in the same season. They were incredible. So you don't always have to look over the fence at something greener. Let me tell you right here, make your own grass green, make your own family greener, make your own church greener, make your own business greener, make your own health greener, and invest in yourself. I don't know how you're going to invest. You know what that would be. You know what you got to do. So make sure that you make your own grass green. Remember, little things lead to bigger things. Going back to W. Clement Stone and his quote, and this is what he said. He said, "Big doors swing on small hinges." Big doors swing on small hinges. What are the small hinge areas of your life? What are the parts of your life that it seems insignificant, doesn't seem that it matters a lot? Well, those are the things that are actually going to lead to big things. They open big doors. In other words, small opportunities lead to even bigger opportunities. So I just wanted to encourage you today to make sure that you don't despise the little things of small beginnings, because God delights to see the work begin. And especially opportunities. Don't be an opportunist. Be opportunistic. An opportunist is only thinking about themselves. An opportunist is only thinking about the money. An opportunistic person or an opportunist is someone that is thinking only about themselves and what I get in it. I just want you to be prepared for opportunity, because when opportunity comes knocking, you better be ready to answer the door.